The rise of short film type documentaries done by independent YouTube channels. The first name that probably pops up in your mind is Magnates Media. In this video, we will learn how to create from scratch a YouTube video in the style of Magnates Media. However, if you want to edit like Jake Tran, you can check out the video by clicking here. Magnates videos consist of introduction, usually in duration of no longer than 1 minute, followed by a chapter introduction. Each chapter is divided into two segments. One is the explainer part, where important information is given, followed by suitable music and sound effects, while the second part builds up tension in order to keep the viewer watching. This is usually achieved by changing the voice tone and adding suitable music, preferably suspenseful and dramatic. Each chapter is finished with a riser, and the next chapter intro is introduced. Now comes the editing part. You can use any type of editing software, but in order to achieve the best result, I recommend you to use Premiere Pro in combination with After Effects. In order to prepare your images, you can use Photoshop, and if you're really good at drawing, you can use Adobe Illustrator in order to create infographics like Magnates Media. In order to create transitions, you will need alpha channel videos, which you can find on Envato. The link is in the description. Now that we have covered everything you need to know before we start, let's take a small sample from his videos, which we'll recreate in our own way. Each scene is created using multiple images combined into one scene. So in order to create effect like Magnates Media, you'll need a lot of isolated images, which you can also find on Envato. Inside Adobe Premiere Pro, you'll create a black video, which you'll connect with After Effects. Then you'll open Photoshop and you'll import your images inside of Photoshop, where we'll remove our background and make them transparent. So after you have imported your images inside Adobe Photoshop, you can go to Select Images and Subject, and Photoshop will automatically remove a background from your image. Repeat the process for every image, and you can also add minor adjustments, because Photoshop is not always precise when it comes to selecting a subject. Then I'm going to use a lasso tool to divide this specific image into two parts, where the first part is a hand holding a key, and the second part is a hand below our key, because in After Effects, we're going to animate each part of this image separately. Make sure that the background is removed because you won't have a transparent image, and then export it as PNG. Then, inside Adobe After Effects, we're going to create an effect from our texture. So, on every 15 frames, create a position keyframe and add a minor adjustments to your position, and then copy these keyframes and paste them on each 15 frames. And then select each keyframe and create a toggle hold keyframe. Then I'm going to place my images on After Effects timeline. So I'll drag all these images on timeline and I'll place a starting position keyframe for each image. I'm going to group all of these layers into one composition. Then I'm going to add a starting position keyframes and the end scale and position keyframe. Next, I'm going to add effect on each layer. So first I'm going to animate hands. Also, you can adjust anchor point by going to transform an anchor point. And then you can later add a different style of effect because anchor point is on a certain side of your image. So I'll repeat the process for the key, hand, and we have created this effect. Now you can also add easy ease to your keyframes to create that effect. Then I'm going to animate our character, so I'll set position and scale keyframes at the beginning and the end keyframes, so our character appears like this. And then we're going to also animate our car, so again set beginning keyframes and the end keyframes, and you can create this slowly appearing from the side car effect. In order to create a more in-depth effect, I like to use drop shadow on each layer, so you can add a distance and direction and also softness to create that kind of 3D dimension space. And you can also apply it on each layer, but also if you apply it on background it won't be visible, so don't bother to do that. Also, the very important effect that Magnates Media often uses in his videos is a focus effect, which can be accomplished with using Gaussian blur. So I'm going to apply Gaussian blur on my car image and on character image. And between those two images, I'm going to add a text effect. And when that text effect appears, we're going to add a Gaussian blur to our two images. In Effect panel, type in numbers and drag the effect on your type layer. And then here you can add font, direction, and the place where your text is going to be. And here you can also add a value, color, and size, but also position. So I'm going to reveal a value in my timeline, and I'll also add a beginning keyframe for a value and the end keyframe. The end holds the last value we want to achieve, and the beginning will be, for example, 1920. Then I'm going to add opacity and also position, so we have created this type of effect. I'm going to place a text between my two images that we added blur effect, so we achieve that focus that we talked previously. You can also change a position where your text is going to be if you need to. By selecting this checkbox, you can create a 3D out of your layer, but we won't make a 3D out of this layer. We will just use Z rotation. So you can add a beginning keyframe and the end keyframe, and in the beginning keyframe you can add a slight rotation, so you achieve this effect that you're right now seeing on your screen. Now we're going to create a transition that Magnates Media likes to use, so I'm going to pre-compose a video and an alpha channel video that we previously downloaded from Envato, and we have placed these two in one composition. So open a transition and type in a Luma key effect and place it on your alpha channel video. Increase the threshold and then select a transparent checkbox on your video that you placed above your alpha channel. I have created that transition that you can fast apply on any type of video that you want, and you'll have a Magnates Media type of transition. We're going to create a text animation that Magnates Media also uses often. So you pull out a pen tool and create this type of rectangle, and you also apply a text using typebox. And then open a shape layer, transformation effects, and go to add and trim paths. You select the end position, and if you move forward and add another keyframe and increase end to 100%, you'll create a slowly appearing effect. Also, you can apply mask on your text that is in correlation with shape, and you'll have this slowly appearing effect. Don't miss out on Jake Tran video by clicking here.